Hi guys, this is Sima recording in her pajamas. So I'm studying Module 4 of Course 1 for the Humber Real Estate Salesperson Program. And the modules that I'm having trouble with are Module 4 and Module 6. So I find this kind of dry information, so I kind of have to go over it a couple times in order to get this in my head because it's just not sinking in. So I thought maybe other people have this problem too, so I thought I'd read it out loud to everyone who's interested in going over it with me, so I'm not so alone in my studies. So the land registration, whereas the previous lesson covered land description, this one describes the land registration in Ontario, describes the land titles conversion project, distinguish between land titles unconverted qualified versus land titles absolute, outline the Polaris automated land registration system, identify the approved document for land registration, and outline how e-registration occurs. So on page 2 of the course, land registration overview. 2 land registration systems currently exist in Ontario under the Registry Act. Registry system, and the Land Titles Act, land title system. Land registration is administered by the Real Property Registration Branch, Ministry of Government and Consumer Services. The registry system has traditionally prevailed in Southern Ontario, with the majority of Northern Ontario under land titles. The Recording Acts, Registry Act, and Land Titles Act provide statutory rules affecting interests with respect to any particular parcel of land and the priority of those interests. These acts attempt to induce prompt registration and to indicate clearly what interests are claimed in the land, thus facilitating the sale of real property. In Ontario, all land is registered under either the Registry Act or the Land Titles Act, but never under both. In the registry system, the land registrar is the administrative official only, taking no responsibility for verifying title. In the land title system, the land register maintains and guarantees title. Now on the 3rd page, it goes on to Terranet and e-registration. Historically, both the registry system and the land title system were paper-based, but the conversion to an automated procedure is now complete. The process involves Polaris, the mapping and the property details database of the Ontario government. So Polaris is Ontario government. And then Terranet, responsible for implementation, operation, and the enhancement of Polaris. Coincident with the change, records are also being gradually converted to the land titles, officially referred to as the Land Titles Conversion Project. Ultimately, the registry system will disappear from the Ontario scene. So the registry system is administration only, but it will disappear, and the land titles does both, registers and guarantees titles. Okay, so the conversion from the antiquated registry format to the land titles includes transferring registry records into land titles and at the same time automating these records and providing for electronic registration. These online facilities now permit land registry users to retrieve property information and conduct land transactions. The key to automated registration lies in the parcelization process. Parcelizing refers to the organization of property by the land as opposed to geographic location in the registry. Every property in Ontario is being identified geographically and assigned a parcel number. That number becomes the central reference for a host of property details. Most large urban centers are now fully automated. Okay, so then on number 4, the Registry Act. The registry system, dating back to 1795, boring, gotta fall asleep, records property interests on a geographic basis. All land within counties in registry at registry offices. The basic recording books are the abstract books. The next largest division is the township. Accordingly, abstract books in the registry office are divided on township basis. Townships are divided into concessions and lots. Each book converts particular farm lots within each concession and within each township. As urban areas developed and large subdivisions arose, the description of land arrived through meets and bounds descriptions, consisting of parts of a farm lot, rapidly became unmanageable. Subdivision plans were developed, and the legal description changed from a lot and a concession reference to a plan number. Each parcel of land within the plan was assigned a number. New abstract books were opened to accommodate these plans. As time progressed, the shelves became filled with not only basic abstract books, but also many others to handle such things as condominiums, leasehold interests, wills, probates, highways, and sundry lots. So the process of searching records became equally complex. A person wishing to search a particular lot would access the plan abstract books and look up the appropriate lot number. Title searches for a minimum of 40-year period are typically necessary. Therefore, searchers might have a go behind the plan back to the abstract books that covered the original farm lots. And ultimately, the chain of title should go back to the original Crown patent, such as the roots of title. Title searching refers to locating, organizing, and condensing pertinent facts about documents and other related materials registered on title. Under this system, abstract books are indexed not under the people's names having interest in the land, but rather under the land description, which referred to as tract indexing. Instruments, documents affecting the land are summarized in chronological order within the abstract books, thereby establishing priority. A title searcher obtains the document number from the abstract information, presents it to the registrar, and receives a copy. Given inherent weaknesses and complexities in the registry system, property records throughout Ontario, for the most part, have been or are being converted to land titles. So, the land titles. The Land Titles Act. The Land Titles Act operates on the premise of Land Titles Register, a book roughly comparable to the abstract book in registry, is the sole information source for purchasers. Land titles is based on three principles. Mirror principle. So think of a mirror. So there's three principles you have to remember. The curtain, what's behind the curtain, and the insurance principle. You will learn about this later in the module. But those are three concepts you have to know for the test, okay? So you need to know about, there's two things you need to know about the registry system, which is administration only, and it will disappear completely. You need to know the land titles, which does both, registers and guarantees titles. And also about the Polaris system, and that's important to know too, about Polaris and Terranet. Okay, so now page number 6. Moving on, features of land title system. While the registry operates under a tract indexing system using geographic location, all land titles entries are by way of assigned parcel numbers. A separate parcel record is kept in a regular or a register of title for each unit of ownership. The actual title searching process involves identifying outstanding entries on the most recent parcel register of the specific property. The primary feature of the land title systems are: it is a method of government registration of title to land in which the government, subject to certain limitations, guarantees the title and operates the registration process. All transactions must be registered against the title in the provincially operated land titles office and are not valid in the form of mere instruments executed by parties as against other competing registry interests. Okay, the certificate of title is intended to be complete and accurate reflection of the result of all preceding transactions affecting the property. Persons dealing with a registered property do not need to look elsewhere except to search a few statutory exceptions. An assurance fund is provided that in is intended to provide compensation to those persons who suffer loss due to errors or omissions of the registrar in the operation of the system. No title to land register under the Land Titles Act that is averse to the title of the registered owner can be acquired by any length of possession or prescription. Squatters' rights. So they talk about squatters' rights. So that's no longer a part of our current system. There's no such thing as squatters' rights. Each parcel of land is recorded in the register at the Land Titles Office as a unit of property. The land is surveyed and accurate boundaries and parceled descriptions are available that facilitate the recording of the land dispositions. A land titles office is officially referred to as the Land Registry Office. Okay, land for the Land Titles Division of the regional municipality or country of name. Each land title division is overseen by the land registrar. Okay, so now on page number 7. Moving on. The 3 principles, okay? So there's the mirror principle. The mirror principle, these are ones you need to know, principle, okay? So the register of title is a mirror that accurately and completely reflects beyond all argument the current facts that are material to a person's title. Okay, so that's a mirror, it's reflecting. Remember that, mirror. The curtain principle. The registrar is the sole source of information for proposed buyers who need not and indeed must not concern themselves with trusts and equities that lie behind the curtain of information. So don't look behind the curtain. So it's a curtain of information. And insurance. So the mirror principle is deemed to give the absolute correct reflection of title, but if through human error a flaw appears, anyone who suffers loss must be put in the same position so far as money can do, and they would have been had the reflection been a true one. For example, in the case that a party has been defrauded of title, they may not regain title to the property, but instead would be put in the same position by financial compensation. Okay, moving on. So those are the 3 principles: mirror, curtain, and insurance. Those, you need to know those. That's a test question. Okay, moving on. Land Titles and Assurance Fund. So the Land Titles Assurance Fund, established under Part V of the Land Titles Act, states that the person deprived of ownership through selected errors or fraud are entitled to compensation, provided such compensation cannot be obtained from other sources. Okay, most specifically, the fund is designed to provide financial compensation for persons wrongfully deprived of land or some interest therein due to the land being brought under this act by any reason of some other person being registered as owners through fraud, or by reason of any description, omissions, or other errors in the certificate of ownership or change or charge, or in an entry on the register. The compensation is subject to various qualifications. The person claiming to be entitled payment for compensation must apply to the Director of Titles. The amount of compensation will be determined by the Director of Titles, subject to the certain rights by the claimant. The Land Titles Assurance Fund should not be confused with title insurance. Okay? So that's totally different. So title insurance and the Land Titles Assurance Fund are 2 separate things. Okay, for example, an owner of a dilapidated home in the village of West End has not occupied the property for a considerable period of time. An individual unknown to the owner forges various documents and successfully has the property registered in their own name. Following the forgery, they sell the property to an innocent buyer for fair market value. The new owner tears down the dilapidated house and builds a new one, the modern 2-story home on the property. The original owner ultimately uncovers the situation and legally pursues both individuals. The new owner may have no involvement as the property was acquired in good faith at fair market value. Further, if the person who forged the documents turns out to have no money or has disappeared in the process, the original owner would then look at the land titles assurance fund for settlement. The original owner has lost an interest in land, cannot recover the interest, and has suffered loss as a consequence of the fraud. An owner's success in dealing with the assurance fund would depend on specific circumstances, such as exhausting all other avenues of compensation before filing a claim with the land titles assurance fund. Okay. So now moving on to page 9. Land titles conversion project. Okay, so as you have already learned, the land titles conversion project involves the conversion of registry documents to land titles coincident with the change to the automated Polaris system. The Polaris system is what you need to know. Under traditional procedures, a property would enter land titles through an investigation and subsequent certification by way of first application under the Land Titles Act, Part 5. The Land Titles Conversion Project provides streamlined procedures to accelerate the process and to access land registration records by way of TerraView, responsible for implementation, operation, and enhancement of Polaris. Most of the land in southern Ontario settled after 1795 was originally in the registry system. The administrative conversion of registry to qualified land titles is an integral part of the Polaris automation process. For land titles conversion, a search process was developed that would account for all claims outstanding during the 40-year search period and establish the owner of the parcel. Under this process, at least 10 years of ownership or the last 3 deeds are searched, whichever is greater, to establish ownership. Okay. Hold on, did I read number page? Let me see. Ownership. Interest and claim. Okay. Interest and claims recorded on the parcel index for the 40-year search period are carried forward to the automated parcel registrar. The abbreviated search process assumes that any prior errors or omissions would have been detected by at least one of the law firms conducting the 40-year search necessary to transfer title property. The record created is guaranteed by the registry system, and any loss caused as a result of errors or omissions, if any occurs, will be compensated through the Land Titles Assurance Fund. Okay, the search process does not involve applications by involving owners, supported by current surveys. Individual notifications is not given, and no hearings are held to resolve dispute concerning the extent of title. Therefore, the boundaries of the land included in the application are not fixed, as would be the case with first registration. Consequently, the title system given by the government varies from provided under the existing first application conversion process. Title qualifications, in addition to those set out in the Land Titles Act, are modified, and legal advice should be sought regarding such matters. Okay, page number 10. Land titles converted qualified versus land titles absolute. This is also something you need to know. Almost 35% of land in the registry system was converted into land title system using the Land Titles Absolute, LTA system. The LTA is issued for parcels that are brought into land titles by way of first application. As such, these titles are subject to title qualifiers set out by the Land Titles Act. The remaining 65% of the land was brought into the land title system through the land titles conversion qualified. LTCQ. These are 2 things you need to know. The LTCQ system involves parcels that are brought into land titles during the administrative conversion from registry records to land titles parcel. Okay, so the Land Titles Absolute is issued for parcels that are brought into the land titles by way of first application, whereas the Land Titles Conversion Qualified, you can just think of those 2 terms. So it's a conversion qualified. So that obviously are that involves parcels that are brought into the land titles during the administrative conversion from registry records to land titles parcel. Okay, so just remember that. It's it's in the name, those are two things you have to know. Land title conversion qualified and land titles absolute. So they're absolutely new land, land, like what's it called? Yeah, land, I guess, or whatever, homes. In the land titles conversion project, the first application process is replaced with a large-scale administrative conversion. A pre-established search procedure verifies existing titles within the registry. A certification of title is issued upon that investigation and the recommendation of the representatives of the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services. Properties so converted bear the initials LTCQ, indicating land titles conversion qualified. The title to the property is insured with the claims being settled under the Land Titles Assurance Fund. So obviously, if there's a problem, they have insurance, an assurance fund to help protect people. Understandably, such a large-scale conversion does not come without some qualifiers as to the extent of title guaranteed. A dispute mechanism is designed to handle a variety of unique circumstances such as planning issues affecting adjoining properties, conflicting descriptions, and disparate boundary lines. So obviously they can't, cover all. They have to cover their bases with the insurance fund, because when they're converting everything, they couldn't do everything. They may have missed a few things, so they have the assurance fund. The land titles conversion project presented a special challenge given the mass administrative conversion from registry to land titles. Risk factors associated with the process had to be carefully examined. The Ministry of Government and Consumer Services determined that the title for all properties issued on the land titles conversion would be given qualifications that differ slightly from the normal land titles qualifications. Most notably, the land title brought into land titles by conversions are subject to the right of any person who would, but for the land title, be entitled to the land or any part of it through adverse possession. Adverse possession, that's a word you need to know. So, adverse possession occurs when an individual who is not the owner takes possession of the property, known as the squatter's rights. Prescription, misdescription, or boundary settled by conversion. Such matters, however, go beyond the scope of the current course. So, squatter's rights is no longer a right. Okay, so moving on, page number 11. Okay, so let's just take a little break from that, and I will do video 2 of module 4, course 1 in my next. Let's just take a little break. Watch the video for number. So I'm going to watch the video. Okay, and we'll come back.
Titles absolute plus means that the property is free of any encumbrances and the title cannot be disputed by anyone. The resolutions of any problems regarding boundaries. Owners wishing to develop property by registering a plan of subdivision or condominium on an LTCQ parcel must apply to upgrade the title to a Land Titles Absolute Plus. Land Titles Absolute Plus means that the property is free of any encumbrances and the title cannot be disputed by anyone. The resolutions of any problems regarding boundaries and adverse claims is required before such plans are registered in the automated system. If a title-related problem is uncovered during the search process that cannot be resolved, the property will not be converted to land titles. It will be automated and maintained in the registry system. Any property that is not converted initially may be converted later, without a formal first application, as soon as the missing title evidence is supplied. Problems with boundaries, encroachments, and conflicting descriptions are more common than title-related problems, and typically involve conflicting descriptions in deeds of adjoining properties. The search conducted for land titles conversion will often uncover such conflicts. Since the situation is so common,
Okay, so title problems. Owners wishing to develop property by registering a plan of subdivision or condominium on an LTCQ parcel. And what does LTCQ stand for again? Land title conversion qualified. Parcel must apply to upgrade the title to a land title's absolute plus. The land title's absolute plus means that the property is free of any encumbrances and the title cannot be disputed by anyone. The resolution of any problems regarding boundaries and adverse claims is required before such plans are registered in the automated system. If a title-related problem is uncovered during the search process that cannot be resolved, the property will not be converted to land titles. It will be automated and maintained in the registry system. Any property that is not converted initially may be converted later without a formal first application, as soon as the missing title evidence is supplied. Okay, problems with boundaries, encroachments, and conflicting descriptions are more common than title-related problems and typically involve conflicted descriptions in deeds of adjoining properties. The search conducted for land titles conversion will often uncover such conflicts. Since the situation is so common, all printouts of the parcel register contain a note to advise the reader that they should search for inconsistencies in adjoining descriptions. In the case of properties containing serious conflicts, such as overlapping descriptions for major portions of the parcels, conversions will not proceed and the parcel will be entered in the automated system as a registry parcel pending any possible further investigations. Okay, so page 12. So that covers the title problems when they're conversion. Okay, so Terranet. This is very important, and as we may know, the lawyers. Okay, so in the course of, land registration. In the course of discussing the Land Registry Act, the Titles Act, and the characteristics and implications, the conversion has been referred to an automated procedure. This conversion process involves Polaris, the mapping and property detail database of the Ontario government, and Terranet, responsible for implementation, operation, and enhancement of Polaris. Our last topic for the lesson is to examine both the greater detail. As a salesperson, if your brokerage is a member of the local real estate board, you will be able to use this system to access title information online, verify property identification numbers, PINs, and confirm legal descriptions as well as other ownership particulars. Okay, page number 13. Excuse me. Polaris. Okay, Polaris is an acronym for Province of Ontario Land Registration and Information Systems. Province of Ontario Land Registration and Information Systems. This automated land registration system operates based on title index, description of property ownership, and property mapping, surveys and plans. Databases. Polaris registers property under a parcel basis in much the same fashion as a land title system. The guarantees of title normally associated with land titles does not accompany this particular process. This parcelization process. By centralizing data electronically, search times are reduced. Manual abstracting is eliminated, given direct input of data through the online terminals. The access is provided to remotely search records as well as mapping information. Okay, number 14. Implementation of Polaris. The implementation of Polaris has proven costly and time-consuming, giving the searching and recognizing of documents and property data under individual parcels. This data forms the basis for the computerized title index. Secondly, the recordings of mappings information forms the foundation of the property mapping database. Polaris, as a result, permits the user to find property by individual parcel, referenced by property identification number or a PIN, or by individual name or by street address within the index. So that needs to be known for the test, okay? So you can search Polaris by the title index, the PIN, so by the property identification number, the PIN, the individual name, or by street address, okay? So those three things, that's a test question for sure. Further property mapping allows geographic pinpointing of described properties. Activities concerning the automation of records under Polaris are being carried out coincident with the land titles conversion project, enabling the gradual move to full electronic facility throughout the province. Okay, so the conversion project, it just changed everything to online. That's also a part of our test questions. Okay, so mapping. As previously mentioned, Polaris permits the user to access property by address, owner's name, or PIN. However, if the first two are unknown, the PIN can be quickly located through block and property index maps. That's important to know too. Blocks index maps. Large tracts of land within individual communities are organized in terms of blocks. The user first references the block index maps to find the general location of the property index map. So there's block index map and property index map. The user then views the property index map for the appropriate property. Each map is merely a detailed expansion of individual blocks identified in the block index maps. Property identification number, or a PIN, is assigned when properties are converted to land titles and automated under the Polaris system. Properties can be sourced by PIN, a combination of block numbers and property index number for the PIN. For example, if the block number is 00114 and the property number is 0051, the PIN is 00114-0051. So it goes by the block number and the property number. That's a test question. Block, property. Okay, so for the PIN number, it's block and property number. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's a 9-digit number. That's also a question. It's not 11 digits, 9 digits. With this information, the user can access the online index database. Okay, so that's important to know for the test questions. Is the PIN number is made up of the block and property number. Okay, so it's a 9-digit number and that needs to be known. Thank you. That's okay. Page number 16. Searching Polaris. Okay, TerraView and Geo Warehouse. That's Geo Warehouse. We must look into that further. Allows a salesperson or a client, such as a lawyer, to search parcel records with Polaris. So salespersons or so TerraView and Geo Warehouse allow a salesperson or a client, such as a lawyer, to search a parcel records with Polaris by entering the following: unique 9-digit, not 11, 9, municipal address, name, registered insurance instrument number, map, condominium plan, or a plan of subdivision. A successful search will produce the full property description, the owners of the property, and the list of current registered instruments. The printed results will contain the same information as would be received in person at the land registry office. The search can also be expanded to include the mapping interface in order to identify easements, rights of ways, or encroachments, to search the Planning Act compliance, and to identify owners of nearby properties. Okay, so TerraView and Geo Warehouse. What is TerraView? TerraView, a software package providing an electronic gateway to automated property records in Ontario. GeoWarehouse, a web-based centralized property information source that provides state-of-the-art mapping and research tools as well as professional reports. Polaris, Provincial of Ontario Land Registration and Information System, the mapping and property details database on the Ontario government, which is integral to the automation of land records in Ontario. Okay, so page number 17. Okay, so title index database. So accessing databases with TerraView. TerraView facilitates these searches by accessing 3 different databases with Polaris. Clicking the links below to learn about each one of them. So there's the title index database. Title index database. This database replaces the abstract indexes and parcel registers found in the traditional paper-based land registry office. The database is automatically updated as new documents are registered. Property index database. This database provides visual indexing maps to locate properties. Updates occur following documents registration when mapping amendments are made relating to the property boundaries. Image database. This database includes plans as well as images of all active instruments in the title index database. E-registration documents are updated shortly after registering. Paper-based documents are collected to microfilm and then transferred to the image database. Okay, so that's page 17 of module 4. So that's accessing the databases with TerraView. So there's 3 different ways: title index database, property index database, and image database. Okay, so 3. You need to know those. Okay. Page 18, TerraView and GeoWarehouse. TerraView is an electronic gateway software search operated by TerraNet. Okay, so TerraView and TerraNet, which provides clients with online remote access to land information products and services, including the Polaris land registration system. The gateway is designated to permit users, primarily those in the legal profession as well as a municipal office, to perform selected search activities through online connections to land registry offices. Okay, so TerraView's lawyers. TerraView lawyers. TerraView lawyers. As a salesperson, you will more likely use GeoWarehouse. Okay, salesperson, GeoWarehouse. Salesperson, GeoWarehouse. TerraView lawyers. Okay, a web-based property information source that also pulls data from Polaris. So GeoWarehouse pulls it from Polaris. TerraView pulls it from Polaris too, but that's for lawyers. GeoWarehouse is for the salesperson. It pulls it from Polaris too, but it's made for the salesperson. Salespersons can use GeoWarehouse to access sales and demographic information about properties and neighborhoods, exterior, aerial, and bird's eye view images of properties, and any other information about a property, including anything registered against it, such as a mortgage or encumbrance. Okay, page number 19, on land. TerraNet is a partnership with Service Ontario, has a built on land a web portal to deliver key statutory services related to land and property ownership in Ontario to land registry professionals and public. Okay, this service allows users to search historic and current property records anywhere in the province from the convenience of their home. Okay, so TerraNet TerraNet, in partnership with Service Ontario, has built on land. Okay, so on land. To understand how TerraView and Polaris facilitate search for properties, you must first understand the forms that are used to land registration. Okay, so what are the forms that we must use? Going to page number 20. Okay, so these are the forms, and these forms are on the test. So form number 1, transfer deed of land. Form number 2, change mortgage, charge or mortgage of land. Form number 3, discharge of charge mortgage of land. 4, document general. 5, schedule. So those you need to know. So Form 1, transfer deed of land. Form 2, charge mortgage of land. 3, discharge of charge mortgage of land. 4, document general. 5, schedule. So there's 5 forms. How can we remember those? TCDDS, maybe? Transfer, charge, discharge, document general, schedule. TCDDC. TCDDS. TCDDS. Transfer, charge, discharge, document, schedule. Okay, so we need to know those 5 forms. Transfer, charge, discharge, document general, schedule. Okay, so transfer of deed is number 1. Transfer deed of land, number 1. Number 2, charge mortgage of land. Number 3, discharge of charge mortgage of land. Number 4, document general. Number 5, schedule. Okay, we'll take a little break. Okay, so to review the forms that the lawyers use, there's Form 1, to transfer deed and land. Form 2, to charge mortgage of land. Form 3, to discharge the charge of mortgage. Form 4, document general, and the Form 5, the schedule. Okay, so those forms are very important to know. So to go over them in detail, the transfer deed of land, Form 1, is a standard form used to register a deed under either the registry or the land titles system. Standardized forms were introduced to create uniformity in registry records. This form is used to convey title or an interest in property and includes the full names of both sellers, transferors, and buyers, transferees, along with the birth dates. Any other person who has an interest in the estate being conveyed would also join in the document. For example, third parties such as a life tenant or a spouse releasing matrimonial home possessory rights, and heirs or beneficiaries. Okay, so the transfer deed of land is normally registered along with the land transfer tax affidavit. A land transfer tax affidavit must accompany every document and being registered in Ontario. Land registry offices that transfer interest in land. An affidavit is required by the Land Transfer Tax Act, and the land registry is required to collect land transfer tax. When this document is presented for registration, either at the land registry office or electronic transmission, this form also provides for explanatory comments if the consideration is normal. As a final note, consideration may not always be recorded. Buyers may elect to pay land transfer tax directly to the Ministry of Finance, and therefore details would not appear in the affidavit. Okay, a bunch of legal stuff. I mean, as salespeople, we need to know about this, but it's a lot to do with the lawyers. Okay, page number 22. Form number 2, charge mortgage land. The charge mortgage of land, Form 2, is a standard form used to register a mortgage under either the registry or land title system. This form provides important information concerning mortgage financing on property being listed or sold. As a salesperson, you will find the form relatively straightforward to analyze and extract relevant information. Select portions of the paper-based form are briefly described below. Okay, so then you go into your course and just look at the different parts of the form. I can show you. Okay, so there's information here about it. Box 9 outlines the payment provisions, including last payment. Box 10 provides for any special provisions agreed to between the mortgagee and the mortgagor. Box 8 identifies the standard charge terms that apply between the mortgage standard and provide details of terms of the mortgage. Box 7 outlines the type of estate, such as a free simple estate or a leasehold or a life estate. Box 5 provides a legal description of the mortgaged property. And box 4 sets the principal amount of the mortgage that was originally placed on the property. Okay, so it's important to look at those details so that you understand this form. Okay, moving on to charge mortgage of land. So I'm still continuing on with this page number 23. The charge mortgage of land form 2 is a standard form used to register a mortgage under either the Registry of Land Title system. This form provides some important information concerning mortgage financing on a property being listed or sold. As a salesperson, you will find the form relatively straightforward to analyze the information. Okay, so the signatures, box 11 is with the signatures concerning the charger, mortgagor, with boxes 14 to 15 relating to the chargee. The balance of the form involves property details, including assessment roll numbers, who prepared the form, and fees associated with the mortgage registration. Okay. Page number 24. Discharge of mortgage. So the discharge of mortgage, so there's form 1 is transfer deed, form 2 charge mortgage land, 3 is discharge of mortgage. This discharge of mortgage, the charge, is standard form used when discharge a mortgage under the either registry or land title system. The discharge of mortgage is executed by mortgagee and given to the mortgagor, verifying that a mortgage loan has been repaid in full before, at, or after the maturity date. This document is registered at the Land Registry Office as a permanent record of discharge. Merely paying off the debt is not sufficient for the mortgagor when discharging a mortgage. Since a document was originally registered to give evidence of the mortgage existence, the discharge is registered as evidence of the removal of the claim. The mortgagee's solicitor, lawyer, normally prepares the discharge, and a fee is charged for the service. The mortgagor or the respective solicitor should ensure that the discharge is properly registered. Occasionally, a mortgagor will pay off a mortgage debt and fail to obtain a discharge. This situation may not be discovered until a future date when the owner attempts to refinance and sell the property. So make sure that's done, especially if you own property yourself. Okay, so land registration forms 4 and 5. Document general and schedule. Form 4 is the document general, and form 5 is the schedule. Okay, so the document general form 4 is essentially a blank form meeting prescribed standard that is used to register any document that are not a transfer, charge, or discharge, such as the transfer deed of the document general is used as a variety of circumstances associated with property titles, such as notices of liens on a property or a registration of a power of attorney. Okay, so if you have a power of attorney signing for you, or if there's a lien on the house because the mortgage wasn't paid, that's what its document general is for. The schedule, or form 5. The schedule is used as an attachment with other paper-based or electronic forms. The schedule can accompany a transfer deed of land, charge mortgage of land, discharge or charge. So it accompanies the other documents and is used as an attachment with other paper-based or electronic forms. Click the thumbnail. Okay, so let's look at what Schedule 5 looks like. So it's just pretty much a blank page that's used if the lawyer needs to add extra things in there. That's the form that the lawyer would use. schedule. Okay, so we went over all the forms, and moving on to review again, form number 1, transfer deed land. Form number 2 and 3 are mortgage. So 2 is the mortgage charge. 3 is the mortgage discharge. 4 is the document general, and 5 is a schedule. Okay, so e-registration. Moving on to e-registration. As you learned earlier, e-registration refers to title documents being created, submitted, and maintained in electronic form. Individuals who are provided access to a TerraView Polaris system may register documents electronically from their offices, use a kiosk in the applicable land registry office, or registered assisted services by staff member in the land registry office. Not all documents can be registered electronically. For example, certain types of documents such as a crown grants and the declaration and description of a registration of a condominium must be registered using traditional paper-based methods. Also, certain documents, given their size and number, may exceed limits within the e-registration system. Example might involve a complex legal document that affects hundreds of thousands of properties. E-registration is initiated by means of dockets and messaging. A docket included in registration documents prepared by one lawyer with subsequent forwarding messaging by secure transmission to another user through TerraView gateway software. Page number 27, the process of e-registration. So this is a test question. Okay, the process of e-registration. So there's 4 stages. So create, update, draft a document prepared, transfer deed, document messaging, document forwarded to the receiving lawyer who has ability to update and amend if necessary, complete, solicitors confirm document accessible electronically, i.e. signature, and release. Both solicitors electronically release the document for registration. Okay, so create, messaging, complete, release. Create, messaging, complete, release. Okay, 4 stages in the e-registration document flow. The image provides an overview of the e-registration document flow via description of steps. First, a seller's lawyer creates a transfer deed of land and sends a message to the buyer's lawyer to allowing access to the document. The buyer's lawyer then adds the buyer's information to the document and performs other steps in the document process. The document then completed by both lawyers is ready for electronic signatures. 2 types of signatures are required: completeness and release. The completeness signature validates the accuracy of statements made, and the release signature confirms that the document is ready for registration. With the documents now completed and signed, the e-registration can occur. Okay. So create, draft the document prepared, transfer deed of land, for example. Messaging, document forwarded to the receiving lawyer who has ability to update, amend if necessary. So complete, solicitors confirm document is accessible electronically, electronic signature. Release, both solicitors electronically release the document for registration. Both complete and release steps must be electronically affixed to the document for acceptance by the land registration. Okay, so e-registration document flow. That is a test question. Okay, so now I'm just going to go into my system and do the questions. And so it's good practice to go in and do your questions at the end of the module. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Sima tutoring in her pajamas. Hope to get you on the next module, and hopefully you learned a lot with me. I learned a lot just teaching. Thanks so much for watching. Sima tutors in her pajamas. Bye. Okay, so for some final tips for module 4, the things that I was struggling with. So Polaris does not guarantee titles. Land Titles Act does. Okay, so remember that for a test. It's very important. was developed essentially based on the format used in land titles for registering property in separate parcels. Okay. And also things that I was struggling with were like a sectional township consists of 1,000 acres, 100 acre lots. So that's important to know. Monumentation is used for both surveys, real property report, and reference plan. So that's another point to know. Survey has 4 major components: research, measurement, monumentation, and plan, or the report. Okay, so 4 things for survey. Survey has 4 major components: research, measurement, monumentation, and plan, or the report. Okay, that's important to know. Physical markers are called monumentation. Surveyors, real people report, 2 parts to it: plan of survey and the written report. Okay, these are all on pages 12, 13, and number 5. Those are the ones that I've been struggling with. I don't know about you guys, but those ones I have to go over more to remember them. So, because some of the stuff gets a little dry. So, but it's really important to remember that stuff and know it as a realtor and also for your test. So good luck, guys, studying your test. This is Sima in and out of her pajamas, studying in my pajamas. Well, actually, I just went skating. But anyway, okay, have a good day, guys. Peace.